Angel Pelago's on my right, and Linda Olney's on his right.
Today we have a bill, Bill 361, that's been introduced by Councilman Angel Pelago to ban the planting of GMO taro and GMO coffee on the island. We were unsuccessful on the state level, even though we tried very hard at, to pass some bills to ban these two crops within the state.
I'm a taro farmer, a poi processor from Waipio Valley. I stand united with taro farmers, 100% from Waipio, and a vast majority, I'd say probably 99% of the taro farmers from around the state of Hawaii, in standing up to the biotech companies and the UH researchers who want to manipulate our taro, who want to patent our taro, who want to take something that doesn't belong to them and profit from it.
And farming is not rocket science, really isn't, but it is a business.
Well, these are genetically engineered crops that have been, that the genome of the cell has been altered. There are many reasons that they do it. They do it to insert traits into the plant, either disease resistant, herbicide tolerance.
Well, genetically engineered taro, as a taro farmer, I have concerns based on cultural issues, economic issues, and nutritional issues.
This is a Chinese taro right here. Now, similar looking leaf, it has a spot in here, but you can see the stem is different. It's a little purple up here, huh?
Taro is the very root of Hawaiian culture, and to genetically manipulate Haloa, the older brother of man, is again completely unacceptable. And again, it's an insult to our kupuna and those who have passed down these varieties, these beautiful varieties of taro that were developed over centuries. There's nothing wrong with our Hawaiian varieties of taro. My taro is not sick.
This one, it's not a very big one here, but all these, the keiki that you can plant. So you have patches that you just grow for leaf, have other patches growing for the corm. You cut just a little bit of the root, and then you can cut the leaf off, and then that gets planted.
Taro, on the nutritional side, is known worldwide as a hypoallergenic food. There are no allergies to taro worldwide, so people can eat it. As a poi processor, we provide our poi to babies. It's the first food they eat, all the way up to the full life spectrum, to kupuna. It's the last food they eat here on this earthly plane, and no allergies to that. By introducing genes from other plant species like wheat and rice, you create proteins that are very likely to be allergenic. And so to lose that hypoallergenic qualities of our staff of life that has nourished the Hawaiian people for thousands of years is completely unacceptable.
And that's one of the things they were talking about, genetically engineering things to try and it's all make it resistant to this stuff. But you just experiment with the variety that grows best in your area rather than getting into this genetic modification.
On an economic level, again, the issue of genetic engineering really is an issue about patenting and owning plant varieties. U.S. patenting law says is if you genetically manipulate and engineer a plant, you now can own that plant. You patent it and own it. When you own it, you can sell it. And there's already precedents from the University of Hawaii in trying to patent our Hawaiian varieties that have been manipulated to try to sell back to the farmers. With royalties, with price per huli, per cutting of taro. And again, so this puts a burden, an economic burden on us.
Because it is from this foundation that I speak against this measure that would ban genetic engineering research of taro and coffee on Hawaii Island.
Well, I'm with HCIA, which is it's called Hawaii Crop Improvement Association, and it's a trade organization that's comprised of seed corn companies here in Hawaii. I work for Dow AgroScience, but we firmly feel that no legislation is necessary that would impose a ban on genetic engineering research on taro that would have implications to the science and research technology here in Hawaii.
It's just they believe that once anything like this passes, it's the slippery slope to the downfall of all GMO or /biotech crops.
Perhaps other counties would follow suit, and it could have implications on the research, agriculture research in general in Hawaii.
In the case of coffee, it has only been to create controlled ripening so that they can ripen all at the same time, and it's also to create a genetically engineered caffeine-free coffee. With coffee, we would lose our specialty status. All conventional and organic farmers would lose specialty status, and then of course organic farmers could lose their organic status. And we just wouldn't be able to get the price that we get. You know, GMO does not, you know, if you had a big equal sign, big non-equal sign, GMO gourmet, does not equal.
Many places in the world will not take GMO coffee, and so if they introduce GMO coffee into Kona, contamination will happen. You know, it's been proven worldwide. You cannot just isolate a crop, and so the Kona coffee farmers have economically everything to lose.
Well, with coffee, coffee is pollinated by bees. It doesn't need the bees, it is actually self-pollinated, but where I live, for instance, there are thousands and thousands of bees in my area. And the bees can travel a 6-mile diameter, 3-mile radius. And so a farm 3 miles away or 4 miles away, we have no way of knowing those farmers, and so, you know, we can't really talk to our neighbors about, hey, are you growing a GMO? You know, not to mention that even if we did know, we wouldn't be able to protect our coffee. We would get the pollination, and then that bean would be GMO in the first generation because it goes right to the seed. And in coffee, we do consume the seed. And with taro, I think it's about mixing up the huli. You know, one looks like the other, and people share huli all the time. That's how we propagate taro here on the island. So you could see how that could become a real big mess.
They're afraid perhaps that by having genetic engineering taro out in the environment, they feel that that might interfere with their marketing. It might perhaps contaminate their non-GMO taro, and that's really highly very unlikely, as taro itself you know, in growing in the outdoor environment is very unlikely to contaminate, because the flowering process doesn't allow it, because you have to manually move the pollen from one plant to the other to successfully make a pollination. So in its natural sense, it's very unlikely that taro could contaminate each other. The Taro Security Task Force, which was conveyed together by OHA, which would identify the taro stakeholders, which would include the researchers and farmers throughout the state of Hawaii, you know, let them sort of discuss the priorities and determine whether genetic engineering taro is necessary.
Because this island and our farmers here wish to protect coffee and taro, but you're worried about a broader application of this as a precedent-setting measure.
Yes, absolutely, sir. Yes. That is a concern for the industry as a whole, and to add to that is that we support the research of biotechnology. Yes.
Wow. Good luck. Thank you.
Yes, leave our taro alone. You know, this is something, if companies, international companies, if researchers want to come here to Hawaii, come here with respect. And understand that we are very deep-rooted. We're not anti-science, we're not anti-business, but if you're going to come to Hawaii, come respectfully. Be part of what we do. Look worldwide, look at the problems that are happening. The business model of food production that was put into place, the globalization, is failing. That with the high cost of oil, for many different reasons. And again, it's time to get back to basics and support the local family farmer.